G'day folks, this is Dragon. Got some of these ferro rods a week or two ago. It's about 4 inches long, 1/4 inch in diameter. So got to thinking that if you try and hold it in your hand and strike it, then it's a little bit awkward and makes your striking length of the rod quite a deal shorter. So what it really needs is some sort of handle on it, so you can grip it very well and just give you that extra length to strike it. So what I did was I still had some old bone left over. I cut that piece out of there with a hacksaw. That's this piece here. Fits roughly in there like that. And I've drilled a hole in it, a little bit oversized for the ferro rod, because what I'll have to do is, even though I can wedge that in there quite snugly, as the bone dries out, that ferro rod's going to come loose. So unfortunately I'm going to have to look at some sort of way of securing that rod in there. That hole is probably just over 1/4 inch deep, maybe a little bit more, so I may have to use some sort of 2-pack glue or something like that, unfortunately. Not the sort of thing you do in the bush, but it's a thing you can do at home while you've got the stuff to do it, and it's one of those long-term survival items. So if I do this right, this bone handle on that should last quite some time. It'll probably outlive the working life of the ferro rod itself. So anyhow, we'll see how we go. Well, I've just used the 2-pack glue just to secure that ferro rod in the bone, and it's set quite well. The reason why I did it this way was that when I've got to shape this bone, as you can see there's a lot of sharp edges on it. You certainly don't want the very sharp, actually they'll cut your skin. So I've still got to shape the bone handle. The reason why I put the ferro rod in first is it enables me to grip this tool properly, so I can actually work around the bone with a file. Hello Jetty, you want that, don't you? Huh? No, you can't have it. No, you can't. So yeah, I'll work the bone with the file, smooth it off, and shape it, and see where we go from there. But that ferro rod is certainly well secured in there. So when we come to test it, strike a light or a spark or something, we'll see how well it's set. Well, getting there. Just using a file, and this unsecured bench vise allows me to move it around to get the file around it. And now you can see why I put the ferro rod in first, because it makes it a lot easier to grip, give you a clear working area for the bone. So it's getting there. A lot of elbow grease required with the file, but anyhow, we'll keep going with it. Well, that's pretty much near the finished product, folks. That's what the end of it looks like, where the ferro rod goes in. Quite a bit of file work and grinding just to round it off a bit. That's the end of it. And I've got to say it's a nice grip, good comfortable grip. Perhaps it could be the handle could be a little bit longer, but still it does the job. Probably not something you buy from a camping store, but it's functional, and that's the main thing. That's all I care about. So you see, I've actually used it with a hacksaw blade and some hard sedimentary rock, and that rod is very secure. It hasn't moved, hasn't fallen out or anything like that. So the last stage of it, hit a bit with a bit of emery paper, wet and dry, just to smooth it off a bit, to make it a bit more fancy. You can dye the bone, varnish it, whatever the case may be, whatever you like. But important fact for me is it is functional, much better than just the bare ferro rod, and get a better grip on this one, and not have any problems trying to grip it while you're trying to strike a spark. So I'll see if Mrs. Dragon's busy, and I'll show you the test I've done on it and how well it handles. Okay folks, well, this is the acid test for the ferro rod with the bone handle. I'll just point out something first. This is a commercial one, which I used in a previous video for using different strikers on it. That's the ferro rod I started off with before I put the bone handle on. Now, for me anyway, if you look at the length, yes, it is shorter, but when you're holding it to strike it, you're probably only using about that much of this commercial rod anyway, for me anyway, so other people might find it a bit different. So that's just something to be aware of. I would have liked to have got a longer rod, but I had a quick check of this and I found that you can see where the shiny bits are on here where I've been striking it. It's roughly the same length as this shorter rod. So that's what we started off with before I put the bone handle on it. That's the bone handle there. Looks a bit bulky, but for me personally, and Mrs. Dragon tried it, it's a much better grip on it in the palm of your hand, like that. Okay. So anyway, the acid test, as I said before, I've struck a spark with it, so just to prove a point. Just might do it over here in the shadow a bit so it might come up better in the camera. I've just used the back of a hacksaw blade. You can drill a hole now, I haven't done it yet, just to tie your striker to it, much as the same as the commercial one. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Oh, yes, they are brittle. Okay, that rod's very secure in that bone handle. Admittedly I had to use 2-pack glue. As most of you know, when you're using these rods, they do require quite a bit of force with the striker to create a spark. So in here it's got to be secure. Much the same as these commercial ones which have plastic moulded handles on them. So to prove again, I'll use that same bit of rock I used in the previous video on alternative strikers, and we'll see how it stands up to it. Nice, that's nice, and that's rock solid in there. It really is. So. For me and Mrs. Dragon anyway, that's got a much better hand grip on it as compared to this one. This one's fine, I'll use it, but to get a good grip on it you've got to come further down the steel, for me anyway. So as I said before, when you see the shiny where we've been striking a spark, it's almost the same length as that. So anyway folks, there it is. I mean, you can use wood to make handles for these if you like. I just thought I'd try bone. Trouble sometimes with wood is that with a bit of aging and weathering and that sort of thing, the wood can split depending what sort of wood it is, whereas a bone is less prone to that. As I I said in a previous video on bone carvings, one I did some time ago, I can't remember what it was about. With bone, yes, it will age and will crack, but if you keep it oiled, use a bit of vegetable oil, or you can even use rendered fat, rendered tallow, just to keep the moisture in the bone and stop it from virtually peeling apart like an onion. So there it is, folks. Looks a bit rough, but it's functional, and as I said, that's all I care about. That's a good grip. And as you can see there, with striking a spark, we've used pretty much all of the length of the rod, bar probably about 1/2 inch or so. Alright folks, thanks for watching.